Hey, what's up? Today I'm a total sourdough beginner. No fancy tools, no expensive flour, and no complicated sourdough starter. Sounds like a plan, right? Let's do it. So, my journey starts with getting flour from the nearest store. Not my favorite kind though, because those are way too expensive here in Thailand. I'm sticking to a local budget-friendly option instead. Check it out. It's high-protein bread flour, which is exactly what we want. Looking at the label, for every 30 grams, or about a third of the cup, there is 4 grams of protein? Wait, what? That's over 13% protein. And for less than $3? I'm honestly shocked. This is a total steal, my friend. Next up, like I promised, we have got to talk about starter. We are skipping the complicated stuff and going with this magic dried starter. You can usually grab some from a friend who bakes or just order it online. Check it out. This right here is dehydrated starter. If you're just starting your sourdough journey, this stuff is a lifesaver. Think of it as a starter that a pro has already put the work into maintaining, then dried out just for you. All you have to do is wake it back up and you are good to go. So bring a jar, magic starter in, which is about 10 to 15 grams. Go ahead and add 30 grams water, stir a bit, and let it soak in the water for a couple of hours. Trust me when I say most of the beginners give up at the very first steps. Because honestly, before you make the starter, you need to understand the fermentation. And that requires some experience. So if you're a beginner, what stops you to get it from a friend or a bakery? Don't worry too much. Later, when you fall in love with the sourdough journey, you can always make yours. This is how it's look like after 1 to 2 hours. Stir a little bit and you will have a milky water like this. Then add the remaining water, which is 20 grams in this case, and same amounts of flour, which is 50 grams. Then mix everything well with a chopstick if you want to get fancy, of course, or a normal spatula until you get the consistency of a bit thicker than pancake batter. Then mark it up to see how much it's going to rise and put it somewhere warm in your kitchen. And after 6 to 8 hours, boom, the starter is already double its size. We have a beautiful rise here, but we are not done yet. Remember, we just wake it up. So I continue feed it for a few times more until I get this. The super active starter rises about triple its size and it's strong like a monster. Let's make the dough. In a medium-sized bowl, add 7 grams salt, 235 grams of water. I'm going to skip adding 5 to 10 grams of water in case we need to reduce the hydration later. Next, we need 70 grams of that beautiful starter at its peak, at its maximum level of rise. Mixy, but don't go crazy, it's not going to dissolve completely. Lastly, we need 350 grams flour. Mix all the ingredients together with the back of a wooden spoon or a spatula. Once the ingredients met each other properly, time to switch to your best tools in the kitchen. Your beautiful hands. With the clean hand, I'm going to turn the bowl, and with my doughy hand, I'm going to mix the dough. But make sure to wet your hand. Like so, you can feel how dry or wet your dough is. If it was sticky enough so you can handle it, no need to add the remaining water. I end up adding all the water since my flour is quite strong. So I have a total 235 grams water. And before you get confused by this hydration level, baking percentage, etc., you need to check the description for more details. I'm going to write down all the details you need in the description. It includes temperature and timing. In hot climate, the dough tends to ferment faster. So we use cold water to slow down the fermentation. And in cooler climate and winter time, definitely it's opposite. We have longer fermentation time. So we add warm water to the dough to speed up the process. As simple as this. We let the dough to rest for 30 minutes and 30 minutes later, the time does its part and the dough is fully hydrated and kinda gains some strength. But make sure to keep a bowl of water close to you because you need to wet your hand time by time. Then go ahead, grab one side of the dough, stretch a little bit and fold it to the center. Then do the same to the other sides until you finish them all. Then go ahead, grab the dough, lift it up a couple of times and put it back to the bowl. Make sure to wet your hand as much as you need. This step is optional, but I recommend you to do that if you want more tension. Go ahead, push the dough underneath and round it up inside the bowl. Do this few times until you get a smooth dough which not gonna stick to your hand anymore. Now cover it up and let the time to do the rest of the job. Trust me when I say no one can give you the exact timing for the bread recipe. There are many factors you need to consider. And the most important one is temperature. In cooler climate, you can let the dough and starter to rise inside the oven with the light on. So this is exactly like hot climate, something like my room temperature, so you can follow my recipe easier. Back to the dough, which rested for 30 minutes. It's still not sticky, but if you are really into baking, get one of this water sprayer. It really helps. Spray a little water on the surface, bring the dough on the surface, then go ahead, grab the dough from the middle, stretch a little bit, then slap and fold it on itself. If you need to know, this my friend called slap and fold, and I love it. Then I'm gonna round the dough one more time with the help of the counter to create little more tension. Look how gorgeous this dough is. The dough should hold its shape beautifully. If not, you need more slap and fold. This time, let it rest for 45 minutes. Now, as I'm always saying, your dough tells you what he wants. Trust me. And I mean it. So 45 minutes later, I'm gonna give this bad boy a few slap and folds. Once I notice the dough is feeling strong and firm enough, I will move on to kneading it. But if your dough doesn't look like this yet, don't panic. Just stick to stretch and folds or slap and folds. You will get there soon. Don't worry. You can even round it up with the help of the counter and push it underneath again until it's smooth like this. So if your dough looks promising like this one here, you don't need to do anything else. Just let it finish its ball fermentation. But if yours not holding its shape like this one here beautifully, then you definitely need to work more on gluten development. I'm gonna let mine to finish its ball fermentation, which at 29 degrees Celsius, it's not gonna take more than 2 hours and 10 minutes. Do you see how smooth and strong it is? That's what we want. Again, to have the same temperature, you can let it finish its ball fermentation inside the oven with the light on. And in this high temperature, we are not aiming for 70 to 80% rise. We just need 40 to 50%. And these are the visual indicators you can follow after bulk fermentation. The dough looks puffy and airy, pulls away from the side of the bowl. You might see some bubbles forming in the surface. We have this beautiful dome top shape. Do you see that? And if you want to get fancy, the ideal dough temperature after bulk fermentation should be something between 25 to 27 degrees Celsius. This one right here is perfect. Good boy. And again, before bringing the dough on the counter, we're gonna wet the counter with water sprayer. Now, if you hold the bowl upside down, it's gonna release like a piece of cake. And this is another sign of a well-fermented dough. Now, listen carefully. The dough has two sides, smooth side and a sticky side. Flip the dough. The smooth side should be face to you, like so. And then lift it up, fold it on itself, then round it up one more time with the help of the surface. But be very gentle at this stage. Again, at this stage, the dough should hold its shape beautifully. Then I'm gonna let it sit on the counter uncovered for 20 minutes. And this is called pre-shape. Another beginner's common mistake is they skip pre-shape and right after bulk fermentation they go for shaping. Never skip pre-shape. Now, for the final shaping, you're gonna need one of these. It's called banneton. But hey, if you don't have one, don't sweat it. You can use any basket you have or even baking pan. Just line it with kitchen towel and make sure to season it up generously with rice flour or semolina to keep the dough from sticking. Back to the dough after 20 minutes. The surface has dried out just enough to make shaping way easier. Now go ahead, flip it over, sticky side up this time, and gently press it out to release some gas. Grab one side, stretch it, and fold it into the center. Rotate the dough and do the same on the other side, overlapping the folds. Once it's sealed and looking gorgeous like this, turn it 90 degrees, grab the end, stretch it, and roll it and tuck it toward yourself. Roll it and tuck it, roll it and tuck it until you have this beautiful batard shape. Go ahead and seal those edges. Now, that's a beautiful piece of dough right there, my friend. One last pull on the counter to create the final tension and voila! Into the basket or pan it goes. Give it one last pinch to make sure everything is set. Now again, if you're in cooler climate, you can let the dough sit on the counter for a couple of minutes before transferring it into the fridge for cold proofing overnight. The ideal temperature should be above 25 degrees. Shh, sleep like a baby. And before you panic, don't worry about this step. If your dough looks puffy, airy, you see some bubbles forming on the surface, and it passes all of the visual indicators after bulk fermentation, you are good to go and you can transfer it into the fridge for cold proofing overnight. Which is another beginner's common mistakes. Why you want to bake your sourdough the same day? It's too complicated. Instead, stick to cold proofing, which is not that complicated. Your dough loves you more. Controlled, slow, cold fermentation. More flexible schedule. You can bake it whenever you want. So what stops you, right? Then cover it up, transfer it into the fridge for slow, cold proofing overnight. The next beautiful morning. This is a simple oven adjustment without fancy equipment. An upside down tray followed by an upside down pot. I'm using heavy pot. You can even use an upside down steel bowl. But make sure the height is okay to fit the dough inside. Preheat your oven at least for 45 minutes. Good morning. Baking time. To transfer your dough into the oven, you need one of this baking mat or baking paper. Poke the dough. If it bounces back slowly, it's a well-proof dough. On a baking mat or baking paper, scoring time. And the fun part, using one of this razor blade to score your dough. If you don't have it, bread knife also works. And then cut the dough with 45-degree angles with one confident motion. And believe it or not, the Gain water sprayer helps you to get that beautiful crispy crust. You can also use a cutting board to transfer your dough into the oven. Make sure to use thick kitchen towel or baking gloves. Everything is freaking hot. The dough in, the lid on. Try to shut the door quickly. Bake at 230 degrees Celsius for 20 minutes. Remove the lid, the pot. Enjoy the result. Shut the door, reduce the temperature to 210 degrees Celsius and bake for another 27 minutes. Or until you get your desired color, something gorgeous like this. Let it cool down completely before you cut into it. The moment of truth. Oh my God. Let me tell you this. If my very first loaf looked like this one here, I would open a bottle of champagne, my friend. You are welcome. Alright, I guess that was it. If you're a beginner, my friend, don't go crazy with the hydration level. No need to follow the recipes blindly. And try to understand the fermentation and kinda nail the fermentation part. And I guarantee if you follow everything I told you in this video step by step, you're gonna get a beautiful loaf of sourdough bread like this. Now, if you're already into baking, You need to like this video and subscribe my channel so you don't miss my next video. Like always, keep baking and take a good care of yourself.